My child, stop scrolling. Heaven interrupted your night for a reason. I need you to listen carefully because what is happening right now is not random, and it is not a coincidence that your eyes landed on these words at this exact moment. Before this night began, before you even reached for your device, before your thoughts became heavy with worry and distraction, I already knew this moment would happen. I arranged it. I placed this message before you because there is something urgent I must tell you before the window that has remained open over your life begins to close. Do not ignore this feeling inside your chest right now. That pull you feel, that strange urgency, that pressure building deep within your spirit. It is my voice reaching for you. In just a few moments, something in your life will begin to shift, and if you continue delaying, if you continue convincing yourself that tomorrow will always come, you may wake up one day realizing that the opportunity heaven gave you has already passed you by. You were not supposed to find this by accident. I brought you here intentionally because midnight is approaching faster than you realize. And I am not speaking only about the time on the clock. I am speaking about a spiritual midnight, a moment when doors begin to close, when seasons begin to change, when opportunities disappear, and when hearts that once heard my voice clearly become hardened by delay and distraction. My beloved child, there are many who once felt my spirit calling them the same way you feel it now, but they ignored me. They said, I will come back later. I will pray tomorrow. I will change someday. I still have time, but someday never came. Their hearts slowly drifted farther away until they could no longer hear the urgency of my voice. Do not make the same mistake tonight. Listen carefully. This is not just another video. This is not entertainment. This is not noise passing through your day. This is a divine interruption. This is your warning before the window begins to close. I did not bring you here to entertain your emotions for a few moments and then send you back unchanged. I brought you here because I love you too much to stay silent while your soul stands at the edge of a dangerous cliff. I see the path you have been walking. I see the exhaustion in your spirit. I see the compromises you tried to justify. I see the pain you buried beneath distractions. I see the hidden fears you never speak aloud. And because I see all of it, I could not allow this night to pass without speaking directly to your heart. Within the next few minutes, you will feel something shifting inside you because my spirit is moving around you even now. That heaviness you have been carrying for so long, that confusion clouding your thoughts, that emptiness you keep trying to fill with temporary things, I am exposing it tonight because I want to free you from it. But freedom requires movement. You cannot remain where you are and expect your life to change. You cannot continue delaying obedience and expect peace to suddenly appear. My child, the door of mercy is still open for you right now, but it will not remain open forever. That is why I am speaking with urgency. That is why your spirit feels restless. Heaven is calling your name loudly tonight because the hour of decision has arrived. Do not skip this message. Do not distract yourself. Do not tell yourself you will return to these words later because the enemy has been fighting desperately to keep you spiritually asleep. He knows what heaven is trying to release over your life. He knows what could happen if you truly surrender to me tonight. That is why your mind has been under attack. That is why confusion has surrounded you. That is why distractions keep appearing whenever you try to grow closer to me. The enemy is terrified of what your life could become if you finally stop running from my voice. But my beloved child, tonight I am pulling you back before it is too late. You asked me for a sign, and now you are holding it in your hands. But understand this clearly, signs are not given forever. There comes a moment when the warnings stop, when the opportunities disappear, when heaven becomes silent because a person continually refused to listen. I do not want that for you. I have waited patiently for you. I have watched you struggle. I have watched you cry in secret. I have watched you carry wounds nobody else knows about. I was there during those nights when anxiety wrapped around your thoughts and fear kept you awake. I saw every tear you wiped away before anyone could notice. I heard every silent prayer you whispered while wondering if I was still listening. And yes, my child, I was listening the entire time. Even when you drifted away from me, I remained near you. Even when you filled your life with distractions, I continued calling your name quietly in the background of your soul. Even when you made choices that wounded your spirit, my love for you never disappeared. But love also speaks truth, and tonight the truth is urgent. You cannot continue living halfway surrendered. You cannot continue treating eternity like something distant while your soul slowly grows colder. You cannot keep postponing the transformation I have been calling you into. There are spiritual doors that only remain open for a season, and the one before you now will not stay open forever. Right, you are the steady anchor of my soul if Jesus has become your unshakable foundation. Midnight is not just a time on a clock. It is a spiritual moment. Some doors open at midnight, but others close forever. And tonight you stand between those two realities. One bam leading deeper into my presence, deeper into Vilu, deeper into Purva, deeper into P. The other leads farther into confusion, emptiness, delay, and spiritual numbness. And I need you to understand something very clearly. Neutrality is no longer an option. The season you are entering will demand a decision from you. You will either move toward me with your whole heart, or you will slowly drift farther away while convincing yourself everything is still fine. That is why I interrupted your night. That is why these words found you now instead of another day. Heaven knows the urgency of this moment even if you do not fully understand it yet. My child, if you hear my voice tonight, do not harden your heart. This is your moment to move before the opportunity disappears. I know you feel tired. I know disappointment has made you cautious. I know pain has made it difficult for you to trust. There were moments when you prayed and heard silence. Moments when you begged for answers and saw no change. Moments when you wondered if I had forgotten you completely. But I never abandoned you. Even during your darkest season, my hand remained over your life. There were dangers you never saw that I protected you from. There were attacks the enemy planned against you that I stopped before they ever reached you. There were moments when you almost gave up completely, yet somehow you kept breathing, kept surviving, kept moving forward. That was not your strength alone. That was me carrying you when you no longer had strength left. And now here you are, still breathing, still searching, still listening, still standing at the edge of a life-changing moment. Do you understand how significant that is? The enemy tried to destroy your faith, but you are still here. Darkness tried to consume your mind, but you are still here. Fear tried to silence your destiny, but you are still here. And because you are still here, mercy is still reaching for you tonight. But do not mistake mercy for permission to delay any longer. I am calling you to move now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Not after everything feels easier. Now, there are habits you must release. There are distractions you must walk away from. There are voices you must stop listening to. There are wounds you must finally place into my hands instead of carrying them alone. You cannot enter the next season while holding on to the chains from the last one. The time for hesitation is ending. The time for excuses is ending. The time for spiritual sleep is ending. Heaven is calling you into awakening. So breathe deeply and listen carefully to me now. I did not bring you here to condemn you. I brought you here to rescue you before the door begins to close. I brought you here because your story is not finished yet. I brought you here because there is still purpose over your life, still mercy available for your soul, still healing waiting for your heart, still freedom waiting for your spirit. But you must respond. You must move. You must stop running from the voice that has been calling your name through every season of your life. Tonight is not ordinary. This moment carries weight in the spirit realm. Heaven is watching your response. Angels are witnessing this invitation being placed before you once again. And I am standing at the door of your heart calling softly but urgently, come back to me fully. Not partially, not emotionally for one night and distant again tomorrow. Fully, completely, honestly. Surrender everything. Lay down the fear, the pride, the distractions, the hidden sins, the bitterness, the exhaustion, and come near to me again. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness in your life and devotion to God. And if you want, you can donate to us given link in description or pinned comment to show your support. Because midnight is approaching faster than you realize. The window is still open now, but it will not remain open forever. And this, my beloved child, is why heaven interrupted your night. Bart, introduction section. The interrupted moment continuation. My beloved child, I need you to stay with me a little longer because what I am revealing tonight is not something your spirit can afford to ignore. The atmosphere around your life has already begun to change, even if your natural eyes cannot fully see it yet. There are moments in life that pass quietly, almost unnoticed, but they carry eternal consequences. This is one of those moments. I am speaking to you now because heaven sees what is approaching before you do. I see the roads ahead of you. I see the choices standing before your soul. I see the distractions the enemy has carefully arranged to pull you farther away from my presence. And because I love you deeply, I refuse to stay silent while your destiny hangs between obedience and delay. For so long, you have been trying to silence the emptiness inside your spirit with temporary things. You tried distractions. You tried pretending you were fine. You tried convincing yourself that your heart was not tired, that your soul was not thirsty, that your mind was not slowly drowning beneath the weight of fear and confusion. But my child, I know you completely. I see beyond the smile you show people. I see beyond the strong version of yourself that you present to the world. I see the hidden exhaustion. I see the moments when you lay awake at night wondering why you still feel empty after chasing everything you thought would heal you. I see the quiet battles nobody knows about. And tonight I am telling you the truth your spirit has been longing to hear. You were never meant to survive without me. That restlessness inside you is not random. That ache in your soul is not weakness. It is the cry of a spirit that knows it has wandered too far from the place where true peace exists. You have spent so much time fighting battles in your own strength that you forgot what it feels like to fully rest in my presence. You kept carrying burdens I never asked you to carry. You kept trying to fix wounds only I can heal. You kept searching for answers in places that could never satisfy your spirit. And all the while, I stood near you waiting for the moment your heart would finally become still enough to hear my voice again. My child, tonight is not about religion. It is not about performance. It is not about trying harder to appear spiritual. This is about your soul returning home before it becomes too numb to recognize my voice. That is why the urgency feels so heavy tonight. That is why these words seem to press against your spirit with unusual intensity. You are standing at a spiritual intersection, and the direction you choose now will shape far more than you understand. One path leads deeper into healing, purpose, and intimacy with me. The other leads farther into spiritual exhaustion, confusion, compromise, and emptiness. And I say this with love, not condemnation. You cannot continue standing between both paths forever. I know there were seasons when you felt close to me. Seasons when your heart burned with faith. Seasons when prayer came naturally and hope felt alive inside you. But slowly, distractions entered your life. Pain entered your life. Disappointment entered your life. And little by little, without even realizing it, your spirit became weighed down. You started surviving instead of truly living. You started existing instead of walking closely with me. And the enemy convinced you that this numbness was normal. But it is not normal, my child. You were created for more than spiritual survival. You were created to walk in closeness with me, to feel my presence guiding you, protecting you, strengthening you, and filling your soul with peace that this world cannot give. The enemy has fought so hard against your mind lately because he knows how close you are to awakening. He knows what could happen if you finally surrender completely to me. He knows that if your spirit fully comes alive again, chains will begin breaking off your life. Fear will lose its power over you. Shame will lose its grip over your thoughts. Addiction, compromise, bitterness, anxiety, and despair will no longer control your future. That is why the attacks intensified. That is why confusion increased. That is why you have felt spiritually drained even while trying to keep moving forward. Hell does not attack empty people this intensely. The enemy attacks what carries purpose. And whether you realize it or not, your life carries purpose that heaven refuses to abandon. There were moments recently when you almost gave up entirely. Moments when discouragement wrapped around your mind so heavily that you questioned whether anything would ever change. Moments when you wondered if your prayers were reaching me at all. But listen carefully tonight. Every prayer reached me. Every tear was seen by heaven. Every silent cry echoed into eternity. I was never ignoring you. I was sustaining you while you walked through a season that was trying to break your spirit completely. And now, after everything you survived, I am calling you closer instead of letting you drift farther away. But I must speak honestly with you now, my beloved child. Time is moving quickly. The spiritual condition of this world is changing rapidly. Hearts are growing colder. Many people no longer recognize truth even when it stands directly before them. Distraction has become the enemy's greatest weapon because a distracted soul rarely notices how far it has drifted away from me. And if you are not careful, you will slowly become comfortable living without the fire of my presence. That is why I interrupted your night so urgently. Not because I desire to frighten you, but because I desire to wake you before your heart grows numb. Some doors in life reopen after being closed, but there are certain spiritual windows that only remain open for a season. Tonight, heaven is warning you lovingly that this season of mercy and invitation will not remain forever. You still have time now. You still feel conviction now. You still hear my voice now. But the longer a person ignores my voice, the quieter my voice eventually becomes to them. Not because I stop loving them, but because repeated resistance hardens the human heart. And I do not want your heart to become hardened by delay. My child, you keep waiting for the perfect moment to fully surrender to me, but perfect moments rarely arrive the way people expect. Sometimes transformation begins in the middle of exhaustion. Sometimes healing begins in the middle of brokenness. Sometimes salvation begins in the middle of fear and uncertainty. And sometimes heaven interrupts an ordinary night because eternity is trying to rescue a soul before it drifts too far away. Tonight is one of those moments for you. Do not ignore the conviction rising inside your spirit right now. Do not push away the heaviness you feel while hearing these words. That is not guilt meant to destroy you. That is my spirit pulling you back toward life. The enemy condemns people to push them away from me, but conviction draws people closer to my heart. And tonight I am drawing you closer because I still have plans for your life that darkness could not destroy. You survived too much to give up now. You survived too much to remain spiritually asleep now. You survived too much to keep running from the very presence that has protected you since the beginning. There is a reason your soul feels emotional tonight. There is a reason these words feel personal. There is a reason you cannot simply scroll away comfortably like this is just another message. Heaven is touching the deepest parts of your spirit because your life stands at the edge of transformation. But transformation requires surrender. I will not force your heart open. I will not drag you into destiny against your will. Love invites. Love calls. Love warns. Love waits. But eventually, love also requires a response. So I ask you now, my beloved child, how much longer will you delay what your spirit already knows is necessary? How much longer will you keep carrying burdens alone? How much longer will you keep pretending you are fine while your soul quietly cries out for more of me? How much longer will you keep standing between obedience and compromise while hoping peace somehow appears on its own? The hour is later than you realize. Midnight approaches quietly, and many people never notice the sound of closing doors until they are already standing outside them. But tonight, I am warning you before, and because my mercy is still reaching toward you. My hand is still extended toward you. My voice is still calling your name lovingly through the noise of this world. And before this moment passes, before distractions return, before fear tries to silence what your spirit is feeling right now, I need you to hear this clearly. This is your moment to move. Not tomorrow. Not after another season of delay. Now, because heaven did not interrupt your night by accident. I brought you here because your soul matters too much for me to remain silent any longer. Right, I will not fear, for you are here because His presence is your safety. My beloved child, before I speak about where I am taking you, I need you to understand something that your wounded heart has struggled to believe for a very long time. You were never alone. Even during the moments when silence surrounded you so heavily that you thought heaven had forgotten your name, I remained beside you. I saw everything. I saw the tears you hid from everyone else. I saw the nights when your chest felt heavy with anxiety and your mind would not stop racing. I saw the moments when you locked yourself away just so nobody would notice how exhausted your spirit truly was. And while the world continued moving around you, while people overlooked your pain and misunderstood your silence, I stayed close, watching over every broken piece of your heart. You became skilled at pretending you were fine. You learned how to smile while carrying sorrow deep inside you. You learned how to answer people with "I'm okay" even when your soul felt like it was collapsing beneath the weight of everything you were carrying. Many people saw your face, but very few truly saw your pain. They did not hear the silent cries hidden behind your laughter. They did not notice how tired your spirit had become. They did not see the moments when you felt emotionally empty while still trying to stay strong for everyone around you. But I saw it all, my child. I saw every hidden battle that nobody applauded you for surviving. There were nights when you cried so quietly because you did not want anyone hearing the weakness in your voice. Nights when disappointment sat beside you like darkness filling an entire room. Nights when you replayed painful memories inside your mind over and over again, wondering why certain wounds still hurt so deeply. I watched you trying to understand why people who promised to love you ended up hurting you. I watched you question your worth after betrayal entered your life. I watched your heart slowly become guarded because pain taught you to expect disappointment from people. And even during those moments when you felt abandoned by everyone else, I remained near you. You asked questions in secret that you never spoke aloud. Why am I hurting this much? Why does life feel so heavy? Why do I feel so alone even when surrounded by people? God, where are you, my beloved child? I heard every one of those questions. Not one cry escaped my attention. Not one tear fell unnoticed to the ground. Heaven recorded every moment of your suffering, every prayer whispered through exhaustion, every desperate plea that came from the deepest parts of your soul. And although you could not always feel my presence, I was carrying you through seasons that could have completely destroyed you. You do not fully realize how many times I protected you when darkness tried to consume your life. There were moments when depression whispered dangerous lies into your mind, but I kept your spirit alive. There were moments when fear tried to paralyze your future, but I strengthened you quietly from within. There were moments when you stood at the edge of completely giving up, yet somehow you found the strength to continue breathing, continue surviving, continue moving forward one more day. That strength did not come from you alone. That was my hand sustaining you even while you questioned whether I was still near. I know the disappointment you carry from prayers that seemed unanswered. I know there were seasons when you begged me for change, begged me for healing, begged me to remove certain pain from your life, yet the silence felt unbearable. You wondered if I was ignoring you. You wondered if maybe you had failed too many times for me to still care. But my child, silence does not mean absence. There were things happening in the spirit realm that your eyes could not see. Battles were taking place around your life that you never fully understood. The enemy wanted your faith to die in those seasons. He wanted hopelessness to completely consume your heart. He wanted disappointment to harden your spirit until you stopped believing that I still had purpose for your life. But I refused to let darkness take you completely. You survived seasons that should have broken you permanently. And the reason you survived is because my mercy remained over your life even while you struggled to recognize it. When your mind became overwhelmed, I kept you breathing. When loneliness became unbearable, I stayed beside you in silence. When betrayal wounded your heart deeply, I protected your spirit from completely collapsing. You thought you were surviving alone, but heaven was carrying you through storms you were never meant to face without me. My beloved child, I know how tired you became from constantly carrying emotional pain that nobody else understood. Some wounds were too deep for words. Some heartbreaks changed the way you viewed yourself. Some disappointments made you afraid to hope again because you feared being hurt one more time. So you slowly built walls around your heart. You stopped expecting people to stay. You stopped believing things could truly get better. You became used to surviving instead of truly living. But I did not create you merely to survive pain. I created you to experience healing, peace, joy, and closeness with me again. I know there were moments when you felt invisible. Moments when you gave love to others while secretly feeling empty yourself. Moments when you wished someone would ask if you were truly okay. Moments when you felt emotionally exhausted from always carrying everyone else while nobody seemed to notice your own pain. My child, I noticed every sacrifice, every hidden tear, every moment you stayed strong while silently falling apart inside. And tonight I need you to hear me clearly. Your pain was never ignored by heaven. The enemy tried to use your suffering to convince you that you were forgotten, abandoned, unwanted, or too broken to still have purpose. But those lies were never true. Even during your darkest seasons, purpose remained over your life. Even when you felt spiritually numb, my hand remained over your future. Even when fear clouded your thoughts, heaven still spoke destiny over your name. The attacks against your mind intensified because darkness recognized something valuable inside you long before you recognized it yourself. You wondered why the battles became so personal, why anxiety struck so deeply, why discouragement followed you so heavily, why emotional exhaustion never seemed to fully disappear. It is because the enemy feared what your life could become if you ever fully awakened spiritually. He feared what would happen if you finally believed that you were still loved, still chosen, still called by me despite everything you have survived. Because once a wounded soul truly understands my love, darkness begins losing its grip over that person's life. But my child, I know healing has not been easy for you. Trust became difficult after betrayal. Hope became difficult after disappointment. Faith became difficult after waiting so long without understanding why certain prayers seemed delayed. You kept asking yourself how much longer you would have to carry all this weight. And sometimes, if you are honest, you became angry deep inside. Angry at people who hurt you. Angry at yourself for mistakes you made. Even angry at me because you could not understand why life unfolded the way it did. But even then, my love for you never changed. I stayed close to you through every emotional storm. I sat beside you during nights when tears soaked your pillow and exhaustion consumed your mind. I listened while your spirit cried out for relief. I watched you wrestle silently with fear, loneliness, shame, disappointment, and confusion. And although people may have misunderstood your silence, I understood it perfectly. I knew your heart was not cold. I knew your spirit was simply wounded and tired. That is why I brought you here tonight. Because before I can lead you into the next season, I need you to understand that your pain did not make me leave you. Your wounds did not disqualify you. Your brokenness did not cancel your destiny. If anything, I remained even closer during those moments when your life felt like it was falling apart completely. My beloved child, you are still here for a reason. After everything that tried to destroy your peace, you are still breathing. After every battle against your mind, you are still listening. After every disappointment that tried to harden your heart, some part of your spirit still longs for me. And that longing inside you is proof that heaven has not given up on your story. But now I need you to stop carrying this pain alone. Stop pretending you are stronger than you truly feel. Stop hiding wounds that I already see clearly. You do not have to keep surviving silently while your soul slowly breaks beneath the weight of unhealed pain. Bring it all to me now. The fear, the disappointment, the exhaustion, the shame, the questions, the loneliness. Bring every broken piece of your heart into my presence, because I am still the God who heals wounded souls. Tonight is not just about warning you. It is also about reminding you that you are deeply seen, deeply known, and deeply loved by heaven. Before I speak about the doors opening and closing around your life, you must first understand this truth. I never abandoned you in your suffering. I was there through every moment, holding you together when you thought you were completely falling apart. And now, my beloved child, after everything you survived, you stand at the edge of a divine crossroads. The season ahead will require more than survival. It will require surrender. It will require trust. It will require movement. Because the same God who carried you through your darkest nights is now calling you forward before the window over your life begins to close. Chapter 2. The window I opened for you. My beloved child, there is something you must understand now before you go any farther. The reason I have been speaking to your spirit with such urgency tonight is because a window has been open over your life for longer than you realize. It was not opened by accident. It was opened by my mercy. Long before this night arrived, long before your heart became restless with questions and fear, I had already extended grace toward you again and again. I gave you time. I gave you warnings. I gave you signs. I gave you opportunities to return to me fully. And even after moments when you drifted away, I still kept the door open because my love for you remained greater than your failures. But my child, I must tell you the truth now. Not every window remains open forever. You have mistaken my patience for endless delay. You kept believing there would always be another tomorrow to finally surrender completely. Another tomorrow to heal your relationship with me. Another tomorrow to let go of the things slowly poisoning your spirit. Another tomorrow to obey the calling I placed inside your heart. But heaven does not measure time the way human beings do. Seasons change. Yours shift. Spiritual moments pass. And the very fact that you are hearing these words tonight means your soul has entered a critical hour where decisions matter deeply. I know there were times when you wondered why certain blessings seemed delayed in your life. You compared your journey to others and secretly asked me why doors opened for them while yours remained closed. You questioned why prayers seemed unanswered. You questioned why progress felt slow. But my child, many of those delays were actually protection. There were paths you wanted to walk that would have destroyed your peace completely. There were relationships you begged me to preserve that would have damaged your spirit beyond what you understood. There were opportunities you cried over losing that would have pulled you farther away from the destiny I prepared for you. What you called rejection was often rescue. What you called silence was often my hand protecting you from things your heart was not ready to discern. But now the season is changing, and with that change comes urgency. The window before you right now is not merely about blessings or opportunities in the natural world. It is a spiritual invitation into deeper surrender, deeper obedience, deeper intimacy with me. I have been waiting patiently for your full attention, not just pieces of your heart whenever life becomes difficult. I want all of you, my child. Not half of your loyalty while distractions own the rest. Not temporary emotional moments that disappear the next morning. I am calling you into complete surrender because the days ahead will require a spirit fully anchored in me. You have spent too long standing between two worlds. One foot in my presence and one foot in compromise. One moment seeking me sincerely, and the next moment allowing distractions to slowly pull your attention away again. You tried to convince yourself that partial obedience was enough, but deep inside your spirit you already know the truth. Lukewarm surrender cannot carry you where I am calling you next. The season ahead will demand clarity. It will demand spiritual alertness. It will demand a heart that recognizes my voice above every distraction surrounding this world. Type "I hear you" clearly, Lord, if this word spoke straight into your spirit. And share this video.